Good evening, everyone. It is an absolute joy to welcome you all to this special session on Integrated Business Solution paper brought to you by Board of Studies Academic. We truly appreciate you taking the time to come here. Unlike conventional subjects that focus primarily on rules, standards, or calculations, the IBS invites you to step in the shoes of decision making. Okay, it challenges you to think beyond the silos theory and dive into real dynamics of business where finance, strategy, operations, compliance, and taxation closely intersects. ये जो स्टूडेंट्स ये जो पेपर है ना, यहाँ पे आपको डिसीजन मेकिंग के पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचना है और यहाँ पर जो अदर सब्जेक्ट्स हैं वो क्लोजली एक दूसरे को इंटीग्रेट करेंगे, यानी कि एक कनेक्शन है. ओके, इसको एक एग्जाम्पल के थ्रू क्लियर करते हैं. लेट अस टेक ए सिंपल एग्जाम्पल. Imagine a listed company is planning to diversify into the electrical vehicle battery segment. ओके, एक कंपनी है वो अपने आप को डाइवर्सिफाई कर रही है इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल सेगमेंट में. ओके, नाउ दिस इज ए हाई लेवल स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन एम्ड एट tapping into green energy market. But this decision is not taken in isolation. It is closely tied to various compliances and financial frameworks. ये जो डिसीजन है ना, ये स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन है कि कंपनी प्लानिंग कर रही है कि उसको इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल बैटरी सेगमेंट में आना है, लेकिन इस डिसीजन के साथ जो है अदर डिसीजन, फाइनेंशियल और रेगुलेटरी डिसीजंस भी कनेक्ट होंगे. For example, first, since the company is listed, okay, under SEBI LODR regulation, any significant investment or board's decision must be disclosed. अगर कोई कंपनी लिस्टेड होगी तो डायरेक्टली सेबी एलओडीआर का एप्लीकेशन हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो यानी कि पूरे चांस है कि वहां से क्वेश्चन कनेक्ट हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो इसलिए स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन के साथ सबसे पहले अब हमारे यहाँ पे क्या कनेक्ट हो गया, सेबी एलओडीआर रेगुलेशंस. ठीक है, नाउ फ्रॉम द डायरेक्ट टैक्स परस्पेक्टिव, if the company set up a new manufacturing unit, then it may claim deduction under section 35AD. ठीक है, अगर कंपनी सोचती है कि हमें नई यूनिट लगानी है तो 35AD का डिडक्शन क्लेम किया जा सकता है. ठीक है, सिमिलरली इन टर्म्स ऑफ इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस, the company needs to ensure input credit are correctly availed on machinery purchased. ठीक है, जो आपने मशीनरी परचेज की है उसका इनपुट क्रेडिट, मतलब मैं एक ये आपको एग्जांपल के थ्रू कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि किस तरीके से एक स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन के साथ जो रेगुलेटरी जो फ्रेमवर्क है वो मूव कर रहे हैं. फाइनेंस, आपका लॉ और टैक्सेशन. ठीक है, अब अगर मैं फाइनेंस का एग्जांपल लूं, द प्रोजेक्ट रिक्वायर्स कैपिटल बजटिंग डिसीजंस. ओके, वेदर टू फंड इक्विटी, डेट, फॉरेन लोन. अगर फॉरेन लोन की बात करेंगे या एक्सटर्नल कॉमर्शियल बोरोइंग्स की बात करेंगे तो आपका FEMA regulations connect हो जाएगा. So what's look like a strategic expansion move is actually intervene with multiple layers of compliances, tax planning, financial structuring. Okay, that's exactly the kind of integrated thinking this paper requires. Now, in our previous case studies, we went through a range of scenarios. Okay, number one, in the fast fashion segment, we examined how agile supply chain enable rapid design to shelf cycle. Okay, हमने पिछले सेशन के अंदर देखा कि किस तरीके से एक फास्ट फैशन इंडस्ट्री के अंदर जो सप्लाई चेन थी वो कितना एजल थी, कि मतलब कितनी शॉर्ट सप्लाई चेन थी कि जिससे कि उसको डिफरेंशिएशन एडवांटेज मिली. ठीक है, Similarly, within the aviation sector, we explored how airlines optimize cost structure, route planning in a highly competitive market. We turned to FMCG companies where the importance of brand equity and seamless supply chain execution came into the forefront. Similarly, in the tea industry gave us insight into agriculture supply chain from plantation to processing units to final cup. Okay. And in the transportation space, we looked into how tech enabled company ऐप बेस्ड मॉडल्स आर डिसरप्टिंग ट्रेडिशनल मॉडल्स कि किस तरीके से एक ऐप बेस्ड कंपनी ने जो ट्रेडिशनल जो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सिस्टम था उसको डिसरप्ट कर दिया। ठीक है, अभी तक के जो 5 सेशंस थे उसके अंदर हमने फास्ट फैशन और एविएशन इंडस्ट्री, एफएमसीजी और टी सेक्टर और ये अपना ट्रांसपोर्टेशन सेक्टर के ऊपर डिस्कशन किया। ठीक है, और through these discussions we also applied various strategic tools, various frameworks, accounting standards. Okay, these sessions helps us इन कनेक्टिंग स्ट्रेटेजी विद कंप्लायंसेस। मैं बार बार आपको ये कह रहा हूं कि एक स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन के साथ जो आपके कंप्लायंसेस हैं वो कनेक्ट हो रहे हैं। ठीक है, तभी एक जो पेपर है, इस पेपर का नाम ही इसलिए इंटीग्रेटेड बिजनेस सॉल्यूशंस है। आपको एक बिजनेस सॉल्यूशन, एक जो डिसीजन है वो दूसरे डिसीजन को इंपैक्ट करता है। ठीक है, अब टुडे वी ब्रिंग यू एन इंटरेस्टिंग केस स्टडी फ्रॉम पास्ट एग्जाम। अब की बार हमने कोई नई केस स्टडी डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे, हम पास्ट एग्जाम की केस स्टडी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। ठीक है, इन द नवंबर 2024 एग्जाम, वन ऑफ द केस स्टडी ग्रीन एनर्जी लिमिटेड, एक company involved in manufacturing and exploring of storage equipments like batteries. Their products help businesses that are shifting to green energy by cutting down power costs and making their operation more efficient and sustainable. इस बार जो हम केस स्टडी को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, बेसिकली ये कंपनी जो एक्सपोर्ट करती है पावर स्टोरेज इक्विपमेंट्स। ओके, अब नाउ हमने इस केस स्टडी को ही क्यों सेलेक्ट किया? सम ऑफ द मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस इन दिस कवर्ड एरियाज लाइक framework for using external commercial borrowings, okay, issues related with interim financial reporting under Ind AS 34, TDS deduction and presentation requirement under Ind AS 1. okay, वन यहां पे ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, वन नॉन ट्रेडिशनल एमसीक्यू इन द ईसीबी पार्ट आस्क द कैंडिडेट। इसके अंदर क्या है कि एक एमसीक्यू था स्पेशल, जिसके अंदर जो एक जिसके अंदर आपको एक इनडायरेक्टली उसको रिप्लाई करना था। ठीक है, दिस वाज नॉट स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड फैक्ट बेस्ड एमसीक्यू, it tested your ability to apply ECB framework, think critically and choose the most appropriate course of action। यहां पे आपको क्रिटिकली सोचना था और कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन को डिटरमाइन करना था। तो इसी वजह से कुछ ऐसे एमसीक्यूज हैं इस केस स्टडी के अंदर जिनका सॉल्यूशन जो है आपको आना चाहिए, उनकी उस तरीके की प्रैक्टिस होनी चाहिए। You should have proper conceptual understanding, only then you can solve these types of MCQs. This is exactly the kind of integrated thinking that IBS pushes. Okay, and today we are going to discuss this very good case study so you can learn how to tackle such MCQs with greater clarity and confidence. Okay, all case study materials are available on students portal. Okay, please go to BOS knowledge portal and then IBS section and you can download case studies from notes and assignment section. Okay, today's session will be interactive. So feel free to ask questions whether in Hindi or English. स्टूडेंट्स आपकी कोई भी क्वेरी है, किसी भी तरीके की क्वेरी है, आप पूछ सकते हैं. यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम. ठीक है. यू कैन either speak up or type your queries in the chat box. Additionally, the last 15 minutes will be reserved for your general queries. आपको लास्ट में 15 मिनट्स आपकी कोई भी जनरल क्वेरी है किसी भी तरीके की आप पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है. वी आर लकी टू हैव with us today CA Sumit Dada, a prominent chartered accountant with over 20 years of experience in conducting statutory audit, tax audit, internal audits, business valuations, providing strategic guidance as an independent director at board level. Okay, his expertise will help you to connect your theoretical knowledge with practical knowledge. सर को हम यहाँ पे स्पेशली इसीलिए लेके आए हैं कि सर का जो वाइड एक्सपीरियंस है, जो प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस है, आपकी जो थ्योरेटिकल कॉन्सेप्ट है, हम उसको प्रैक्टिकल जो अप्रोच है उसके साथ कनेक्ट करना चाहते हैं. तो इसीलिए सर का एक्सपीरियंस जो है आपको बहुत यहाँ पे हेल्प करेगा. ओके, with that, let us begin today's session and explore the insightful business case. CA Sumit Dadda sir, over to you.
Thank you, C.A. Gupta ji. Thanks for the setting the tone of the day and giving the importance of IBS. Good evening, all participants. So let me start sharing the screen and then we'll connect. Just give me a minute. If it is visible, then let me know. Anyone can put on chat if it is visible.
No, sir.
Okay. Not visible, just give me. Are you able to see something now, friends?
Sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
It is showing, it is sharing. Just give me a minute. Okay, I just stopped then. I think it is taking slow. Yeah, just give me a minute. Still loading. And when you be able to see, is it still showing loading or? Okay, visible now. Fine. So I think some technical glitch going on. Yeah. So I think this is a part and parcel of technology. Now, friends, I I qualified in 2003, and that time we did not write this paper. Today, when I see this paper, and if you take devil's advocate, on a on a on a first instance, paper looks tough. On a first instance, IBS looks tough on a first instance. But if you delve deep, you will realize it is just culmination of all other knowledge what you have. Whatever you are studying in FR, costing, law, FEMA, everything is coming into one. So if I have prepared for all other topics, let's say if I'm giving both groups, I'm prepared for all other topics, then it looks like a cakewalk. Now, passing an exam is a different story, and going on in real life is a different story. And I'm sure you all will agree, world will always look for professionals who are not only chartered accountants, but who think beyond their role, who are willing to contribute more than their scope of work. Everybody in the world needs a troubleshooter. We just don't, we just cannot put a blinkers on our head and say, look, I am a CA, I will only do audit or tax. I will not look into others. We cannot do that. So when we are taking any position, when we are growing up the ladder of the life in profession, I need to think beyond numbers. I need to think overall a holistic view of how a business operates. And remember, audit tax is one of the part of the business. It's not the business. So if I understand the whole business, then I'll be able to do whatever I'm doing better. So if I want to audit, let's say green energy, if I don't know what is green energy, if I don't know what are the challenges of green energy, then how can I audit it better? So let's say tomorrow someone calls you that, okay, do internal audit of green energy. You just cannot read our internal audit manual and of institute and say, okay, tick, tick, tick. That cannot happen. It starts as a guiding base, but you can perform your job better and much better when you understand the industry. Therefore, this IBS will give you a way to think beyond the numbers, think overall system, how does a business operate. Now, green energy, this case study will understand something on Ind AS, we'll understand something on FEMA, something on income tax. Before we move on to green energy, any idea what is the difference between non-renewable energy or renewable energy? And I'm sure you all would have heard of nowadays, everybody's talking of green energy, green bonds, clean energy. What is the basic difference between non-renewable energy or renewable energy?
There is a concept called as sustainability, which has come into picture these days. I mean, it is gaining prominence. It has been for quite some time, but then now it is the talk of the town. I mean, every other corporate has to, what to say, you can't do away with this. I mean, you can't run away from this. It has become a mandate. So that's how reporting also works on those lines.
Okay. Absolutely right, Smriti and Abhirami, that now BRSR is focusing, ESG reporting has been focusing on renewable and non-renewable. Now, what was the need arise of this, what we are happening? So as non-renewable means it cannot be renewed. So when we say non-renewable, so generally the energy is coming from fossil fuels. So when we say fossil fuel means something which is related to hydrocarbon oxide in it and which is taken out from the earth crust and which has a limited supply. So let's say you take out coal from earth, limited supply. We take out petroleum, limited supply. We take out shale gas, limited supply, oil shells, bitumen, tar. These all are limited supplies. We don't know how much supply we have, but we know there is an end to the extraction. Now the problem happened that because of these fossil fuels, when we are extracting energy, it is producing carbon dioxide. And when the carbon dioxide is going into environment more, ozone layer get damaged. A lot of people got asthma issues, health issues, like those who take out coal energy or petroleum energy. A lot of other chemicals comes out from in the process. Sulfur, phosphate, and other harmful chemicals comes in. Now, because of all this, the environment threat came. Climate change happened. Now, because of this, the sea level started rising up. Because of global warming, glaciers started melting, and it was causing a huge impact. Now they realized that two things need to be understood. One, this cannot continue for long. And when something cannot be continued for long, so what is the time to repair the roof? When the sun is shining or when it is raining? We know this problem will come sometime later. The petroleum may, like for example, Middle East, you all would have heard that Middle East is a hub of oil reserves. So imagine a group of countries from their inception till date, till few years back, 2-3 years back, they had no taxes, no direct, no indirect taxes, no VAT, no GST. Out of a sudden, why in last 3 years they started talking about VAT and income tax in those Middle East countries? Because till now, they all were running on oil reserves, oil income. But they realize this oil reserve well will dry someday. It is not an unlimited quantity. Someday this oil reserve
Yes, it will
die.
deplete.
It will deplete. Then from where you earn money? So they say it is better to start taking measures now, because after that it will be too late. So that's why they started with. Now, because of this fossil fuel, a talk started coming on. Let us go with renewable energy. Now, any examples of renewable energy you have? You think of what would be the renewable energies before we dwell into this case study further? Any thoughts? What could be on renewable energy? Natural resources. Neil, if you can please feel free to unmute and speak up, or any solar is one. Okay, so this is a smart pick. So the session is on solar. Okay, solar case
Solar
study.
energy is one of the.
That is one. Yeah.
Solar energy, solar electricity. That is.
Okay, that we've taken. Fine. Solar panel. No. Neil, you can feel free to speak if you like to speak. Wind energy, fine. So solar is one. Wind is one. Okay. Then
Hydroelectricity.
hydro is the one.
Hydroelectricity.
Hydro is the one. Okay. And anything else? Then it could be geothermal, where the earth itself is so hot where you put something and get a thermal energy generated, geothermal. Now, solar, wind, hydro, according to you, which of these do you think out of these three is the highest in India? Solar, wind, hydro, or even in world, which you think is generally the highest? Generally,
solar energy.
The wind is the highest. Wind is by far highest. After wind, we get solar, and then we get hydro. Now, in terms of why, apart from forget climate for the time being. Apart from climate, what do you think green energy helps you out, or these renewable energy helps you out, apart from the climate? Generally,
Low costing.
okay, low costing, you are there. And why low costing?
Those are like free resources already available.
Free resources. And the best part is, will there be fluctuation in prices like oil prices fluctuation?
No.
Remember when you would have started learning driving your two-wheeler or four-wheeler, whatever, what was the price of petrol you would have gone? Any vague idea? Any vague number?
74 maybe, and right now it is 95 or 96.
Okay. So now that makes me realize I have become too old now. I started with 17 rupees, 17, and now it is almost 100 plus. So it is almost touched to 100. Now, this is because it's a man-made fluctuation. I am like, let's say I am Middle East, I control oil reserves. I'll say now price will be $100 per barrel. So then I'll say it is $200 per barrel. I can keep on increasing. But when it comes to wind, when it comes to solar, when it comes to this, the the raw material is free. I just need to harness it. Sun will never charge me. Only the panel cost will be there, but that will not be that exponentially rise. Right? So because of this, it stabilizes the prices. Second, will it impact? Does it impact due to any geopolitical tension?
No.
No. So sun will still give me the same heat, whether there is a Russia, Ukraine, or any other in the world political issues happen.
Irrespective of other.
Irrespective of.
It will remain the same.
It will remain the same. Abhirani, how there will be political impacts? Just if you're talking of local political impacts, we can by this point. When you say local means, okay, I put in India, then I can have another party approaching it, just like what happened in Tamil Nadu, where one of the biggest solar plant was vandalized, saying that this will lead to a. Prachi, if you like to speak, please feel free to speak. I'll not, because unfortunately today my system is cranky, so I will not be able to shift. So please feel free to speak whenever anybody like to speak. Now, so when we say political impact locally, point taken, but we are talking of globally. Like for example, whenever there is an issue with another country, if they come back to you and say, no, I'll threaten you if you don't give me this, I'll put, just like what tariff war was happening, right? Tariff war, you would have seen how tariff war played the markets. It created havoc in Indian stock markets. The game was played in US. It was stock market crashes here.
Yes.
Similarly, right? So similarly, when this kind of comes, there is no. So like currently our non-renewable energy is governed by Iraq, Iran, Saudi, Russia, Qatar, because these have the best non-renewable petroleums, oil, and other shell reserves. And now, because they are into a monopolistic stage, but now once you get into water, let there is hydro, wind, solar, then it becomes one of the best. We are among the top third in the world to generate renewable energy. China is number one, then comes US, and then comes India. Now, in India, as we just talked about, wind is the most preferred and most highly used because it is easy to use, requires less land space as compared to solar. Because when we talk solar energy, we are talking of mega parks. We are just not talking of our rooftop panel or a small a window or 2-3 panels. We are talking of megawatts and gigawatts projects. Now
it will require huge setups, right?
It requires huge land bank. Two things are important. One is huge land bank, and second, when you know that in the market that somebody is willing to buy huge land bank for solar panel, we will sell him cheap or we will send him pricey. The sellers.
If the demand is high, then price is also high. When the supply is low, then also the price is high. When demand is low, then the price may be reduced.
Right. And here it becomes a negotiation power, because if, let's say, you want to take a solar plant for 5 acres, you have taken 4.5 acres with you, and only a small piece, which is the main piece, can I ask a huge premium? I can always ask a huge premium, and people do that.
Yes,
of course. Because of that, it becomes a challenge. Now, what other challenge you think? So we just talked about good things about green energy. What are the challenges you can think of green energy?
Hello.
challenges. Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to ask that I'm giving my exam in this May attempt. So, is it a revision lecture or is it a lecture for a September 25 attempt? If I'm giving my exam day after tomorrow, so should I?
You are giving exam day after tomorrow, then I suggest you do not attend this lecture. You should study. Why?
Okay,
Because this is people
You are
can
right.
answer.
You are right, sir. This is for next exam, sir, for September 2025.
okay, sir.
All the best to you. All the best to
Thank
you,
you,
those
thank
who
you,
are
sir.
giving exam. Abhirami, also all the best. Please, because it will better you study and focus for the exam. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Please.
sorry for interrupting. I have one doubt regarding regarding the presentation IBS. Since in each case study there will be MCQs and descriptive, so should I need to write the MCQ in the booklet itself, or there will be separate?
Deepak sir, if you can address this in the exam, she wants to know that she wants to write MCQs separately or how to address.
Sir, this type of queries we will take later on, sir.
Yeah.
Initially,
So you can come at 9:50. Like if you are writing exam tomorrow or something, you can come at 9:15 and get the address, or between 9:15. All exam related queries we can take there. Right?
Yeah. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So we were now talking about what are the challenges of green energy you can think of. Few challenges where you can think of.
In solar system, when there is no sunlight or there is winter season, it becomes difficult to generate energy from the solar system. And similarly, at the time of wind, if there is no wind, how we can generate the energy?
So you picked a good point between solar and wind. Which one you think can produce more energy generally?
Sun.
Which
In
works?
India,
See,
because it
no,
is a
no.
very hot country, and most of the time there is a summer season.
Okay. So tell me, would you like a resource who works 12 hours a day or a resource who works 24 hours a day?
24 hours a day.
So wind flows 24 hours a day, whereas the sun will only give me 12 hours a day.
Actually, I'm from Delhi. Here, wind is not available at 24 hours.
Correct. I agree. But what I'm trying to say is, if I so similarly, uh, sun is also not available at all places. Same heat, right? So like in Jaisalmer, one of the biggest in India, the highest solar park is in Rajasthan. Okay, very near to Delhi, because here the heat is very high, right? But similarly, there are certain areas where wind is very high, because there are certain belts, like if you go to Pune, Mumbai Pune highway, you'll find a lot of farms. In Rajasthan, you'll find a lot of wind farms. So because of this, they thrive. But the challenge comes is, as you mentioned, what if sun does not come? What if it rains? In a rainy season, you will have less sun. So that becomes a challenge on a generation. Second would be, what is the storage capacity? Can you continue? What if I do not use it? How long I can sustain this? If I generate the energy, but I could not store it for long, then it's a wastage. That wastage needs to be handled, and that's why the government start project of selling. Okay, you generate from your plant whatever you use. Like anybody of you who's attending the session, anybody has used solar at your home, office, somewhere in your family? Anybody has used solar panels, deployed solar panels? Anyone? Practically ever? Small, medium, big, whatever it would be.
Yes.
Either for you have, right? So Kushi, when you have a solar panel, so what is the system? You put a solar panel, you put in your home or office or where?
It's in my home, so whenever it's sunny, it gives hot water. But when the weather starts to be gloomy or it's raining, you cannot access the hot water anymore.
Okay, and how much? So you get a reduction of the rebates in the electricity bill.
Yeah, there's a lot of rebates and a lot of government incentives also for setup cost.
Absolutely. So the government is trying to promote this. And what does they do now? They say, okay, let's say your solar power is generating 2 megawatts electricity, but you are able to use only 1.5. So the remaining extra goes to the grid. So nearest electricity grid from near to your house, it goes there. Government will pay you extra, let's say 4 or 5 rupees per watt based on the meter reading consumption. So these are certain challenges that the storage is limited, and that's why it needs to be addressed. Also, the location also makes difference. So we cannot have one size fit all. You cannot say. So nowadays, what happens because of let's say in my house I put a solar, but then suddenly a new building comes up in my resident neighborhood, and that's a tall tower. So it overtakes all sun. The shadow comes in, and it does not become usable for half of the part of the day. So there are certain challenges which government is trying to overcome, which the regulation is trying to overcome, and incentivize is very, very important to start people using it. So now we'll understand basics of this case study. And wherever you have any questions, any point, you please feel free to add. We'll spend some time on EPS and something on Index. So this company is Green Energy Limited. Now renewable energy is the next buzzword. Just like we used to have petrol cars, diesel cars, now we are talking of EV cars. Everybody is talking of electric vehicles. Another way of having a renewable energy that, okay, at least we can save petrol, because the lesser and lesser use of petrol we do, that's the alternate we are trying to look for. So this company is set up so that we can have a sustainability storage solutions, because now, so either in a business, either the early mover always gets the advantage. So someone who is into early movers in something which is we call it a green field. When nothing is there and you start your move, then you will get an advantage. Or you should come when everything is settled, take lessons from everybody experiences, take whatever is a shortcoming, and then come back to get the final best product. If you are in the early or if you are in the final stages, both way you make money. Now, when green energy is coming and sustainable solutions is coming, so two friends started to open this company. They started to open in Chennai, because in 3 areas in India, the highest solar panels are in Rajasthan. Then it goes into Gujarat, and then in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. These are the 3 areas which top in numbers of which are the highest in terms of applying the solar panels. So this company set up in Chennai. Intent is, so the 2 founders, Vijay and Rishi, they wanted to set up this up. Both were childhood friends. Vijay did an MBA from top Indian institute, and
Sir,
Rishi did
excuse me,
please,
sir.
Please.
Your voice is very low. Please raise it.
Is the voice issue with everyone?
No, sir, voice is clear.
Voice is clear, but the volume is low.
Okay. Okay, let me try to raise the pitch. Now, anybody else? Volume is low, Smriti, or?
No, sir, it's proper.
Sir, volume is also fine.
Fine. Okay. Because again, we are on renewable energy. Some internet will have a challenge, some internet do not have a challenge. That's fine. Okay. Now coming to, so Vijay did from MBA, and Rishi, engineer with MBA from reputed US university. So they both decided to collaborate. And when you are already working in some university and you would have done some experience, because this kind of business will not succeed till one of the promoters, one of the founders knows the technical stuff. Just doing an MBA, you cannot run a business. You need to know the stuff of the business. MBA or any knowledge will give you an edge. But this edge you will be able to maintain only when you understand the business, in the nitty-gritties of the business. And so these people thought, let us collaborate and start. And anything starting, you need to, first is always a gut feel. First is gut feel that, okay, we know the market, we can think forward, that how to how to know the market is? Any idea how one should know the market? If you want to start a business, how would you know the market generally? Is by reading. You should be aware of global surrounding, like market study. Like one of the best examples of our CA, HDFC Bank Chairman, Mr. Parekh. What he did was he used to study, being HDFC Chairman. What he used to Mr. Aditya, what he used to do, he used to study the global market. He used to study what UK is doing, what US is doing, and he studied somewhere that UK started a supply chain finance. That okay, if I'm supplying giving loan to Audi, then who is supplying tires to Audi? That also must be a good company. So then they started giving a supply chain loan to all people related to Audi. Then similarly like Mercedes, then similarly like BMW, and they realized that because if the overall company is doing good, their supplier will also do good. He studied this and he started doing this in India. He started with Maruti, then Toyota, then other things, and the market become very big for them. So you need to study. So these guys realize that now everybody is talking of BRSR, sustainability. So some other way, people will come for solar, and this is the area we should enter into it. Now there are many, as I mentioned, there are not only solar, we have hydro, we have wind. The problem with hydro is, any idea why you do not hear much on hydro, you hear more on wind, on solar? Any idea? Any idea why you do not hear much on hydro? Hydro, renewable energy, you do not hear much. When you read newspapers or others, you generally hear about people talking for solar or wind. Any idea why it is not so much prevalent? Because we
maybe private participation. Okay.
No, not private participation. Because how do you generate hydro? From where do you generate hydro?
Water.
Water. And water is, can I generate from my tap water?
No.
Then which kind of water?
We make dams and we use the river water.
Now, making a dam is a easy job or expensive affair?
Expensive.
It's an expensive affair, and you cannot do a trial and error with it. See, for a solar, I can always do a trial and error. See, for wind, I can always do a trial and error. नहीं चला यहाँ पे, यहाँ से उठा के I will pick it up and shift the location. Right? We agree it is very easy to shift solar panels.
Yes.
I put somewhere, electricity not coming as what I expected, heat is not coming, can move on. Similar with windmill. I just need to take out blades, fan blades, and dismantle the pole. I can go out. Can we do this with dams? Water flow is not coming here.
No.
Answer would be no, right? So that becomes a challenge, and that's why it has a lot of challenge in doing this. So people take a call that okay, let me go for wind or solar. So as I mentioned, Tamil Nadu is more for solar because they don't have that much of wind availability. You do a market study, and that's why they both decided, since we belong to Chennai and coming back to hometown as people aspire for, they say okay, let us put a solar plant there. So they started to put a solar plant. Now, so solar has also done lot of development in the past. Earlier you would have seen only static plants, static panels. You just put a solar panel, it is fixed. You would have seen it on the roof or on the walls. They would have put straight away. But what was the problem with them? Then let's say I put there is a direction, there is an angle. So you put a solar on certain panels or certain angles, but the sun keeps on shifting from the whole day, from east to west. Sun starts moving right from morning to afternoon or evening. Then what will happen if my panel is like this? Let's say my direction is like this, and then sun is starting from here, and it changes access to the earth. Then what happens? Then the technology developed. And now we have those kind of panels who rotates along with the sun direction. The moment sun is moving along with the sun direction, they have sensors, they'll start moving there. So whole day they will catch exactly what sun is coming. So that's the technology they realize. So as I mentioned, whatever you do, there is always a room of innovation. Somebody just need to think what is the problem, the statement, and how need to be solved. So these people started in 2010, headquarters in Chennai. The business model is technology driven, because the more and more technology you put in, the room of error becomes very, very minimal. Absolutely like sunflower, brilliant. So somebody just need to understand the model, just like how sunflower does for that rotates towards sun. So something can also be happen in solar panels. And that was the idea. Actually, that was the idea where they've taken that how to get it done. Now they realize that nowadays, which is the biggest manufacturer of solar panels in the world as of now? Who do you think is one of the biggest manufacturer of solar panels? So it is China. By far, China is much, much higher in terms of China is one of the highest in solar panels. Second comes India. Now, because of we have so much of capability, so much of technical we have, so lot of solar goes from India to Middle East and European market. Because in Europe market, there is a lot of sustainability awareness, and it is a compulsory that every house, every new building, even in Middle East, in certain parts of the world, it is mandatory that if your building size is, let's say, more than 10,000 square meter or that much of area, you mandatory need to plan solar. If you do not plan solar mandatory, they will not give you permissions to set up your factory. So that becomes a mandatory. And that's why they plan to it. And that's why India becomes a huge opportunity for manufacturing. So they say, let us manufacture it, because the cost of manufacturing is lower in India, and the raw material is available. The raw material, which is glass and silicon and phosphate, whatever is the required, it is available in India at much cheaper price. So they thought, let us manufacture it. Now, just a minute. So product, they want to put a solar panel, solar modules, storage equipment for solar power. So as I mentioned about grid, so they want to put a grid. Now, backend, just now, just give, yeah. Now, backend support for infrastructure for green energy solutions. And whenever you plant or whenever, and we are not talking of a small solar panels or small solar plants, we're talking of megawatts and gigawatt solar plants. So let's say I have a lot of land. So what I will do, I'll do JV with a company. So there are many listed companies who are into solar panels and all. So I'll go for them and do a JV that I'll give you my land, you give me your equipments, we will sell the whatever certain percentage you agree, we will sell the electricity to the government and make profit based on certain ratios. Now, then it comes also includes maintenance also. So if I am having a company, I'll also ask for 5 years AMC, 7 years AMC. So these kind of areas they look for. In fact, recently in IIT Mumbai, a patent has been granted to one of the company who just put a coating. They just put one paint. It's a non-color paint. They just put one paint on the solar panels, and IIT has given a study certificate that by putting this coat, your energy generation goes about 15 to 20% more. So the panels can generate more energy, and your life extends to 2 years more. So normally a life of panel is generally 7 to 10 years. That's average is understood. And they have given a certificate of 2 years more it goes minimum. So because everybody knows this is a regular product, people will always go on developing. You would have just Google energy companies in India, you will find many listed companies, and the price you see the skyrocketing, because everybody knows the future belongs to green energy, and that will be available only in future. So So this is a place where people can start selling the products from day one. Their vision is that it leads to a nation building, because India has committed to United Nations that we will give, in 2047 we will be carbon net zero. We'll try to reduce the carbon emission as much as possible. Now this will only happen when we have other renewable energy sources available in India easily. Government is pushing green energy initiatives, and that's why in all budgets, in all state, government is giving a subsidy of putting solar panels. If you go to the government websites, you will see the government mission is every house should have one solar panel. Urja and all other government initiatives. They want to reduce a huge dependency on coal-based power. Now, the challenge of coal-based power, as I mentioned, so as of now, India has, so we all know anybody who would be holding shares of Coal India Limited may feel pinched by this, that why the government does not want coal-based power to go more. But long effect of coal-based power is causing a lot of health issues and causing a lot of environment damages, which is very difficult to redo that. So that's why because of coal burning, apart from CO2, carbon monoxide also generates while doing coal burning, and because of that, asthmatic issues and various TB issues and various health issues have happened. So the government want to reduce as much as possible. Sustainability, as we know, this is the buzzword. Every company is supposed to ensure, every listed company is mandated, which is in top 1,000, to disclose. So you go and read any listed company annual report, which is in top 1,000 by market cap. So anybody which is in top 1,000 report, listed companies, they need to give a report in their annual report every year now, how much energy we are using from water, from solar, from renewable, from non-renewable, and then they give a target to themselves. Those who want to become the best companies, that okay, our consumption is, let's say, 5% or 10% as of now. We will go and more and more. So GHG emission, absolutely right. So GHG emissions disclosures need to be given in your annual reports. So this creates a benchmark, and a lot of companies says we will invest only in those companies who are using more and more sustainable energy, renewable resources, instead of avoiding this. And that's the only reason, when do you think people will put efforts on using it? Voluntary, or when there will be pressure either from the government or either from the investor? When do you think?
Either there's a pressure from both the parties.
Out of these two, which is more pressure? The government pressure more or investor pressure more? Investor pressure is always higher.
Yes, investors will place a lot of pressure.
Because their money is there. Because government, you can always give
money is involved.
Government, you can always give an excuse, okay, we are trying, we are seeing, but the investor is not giving you fund. So, because there are a lot of investors who put a condition precedence that I will only invest in you when you give me a commitment that you are going to put this, and that's okay. Then they sign a mandate that, okay, I will plant this much, I'll buy this much investment in certain energy resources. So first is investors, then comes the government. Voluntary people generally do not do. And why generally people do not do? Because it involves a cost. And business first thinks, why should I incur a cost? Because when I take it as a business, I say it's government responsibility to take care of our environment. I am not responsible. Then I will say, because I'm paying taxes, the government should take care of it. That's why government has to come in and say, okay, let's start reporting. And once your report is coming public, you need to ensure that, okay, let me start using certain other resources, which is possible. Now they realize that once we start doing this, I go to the market and say, look, sir, if you come my customer, you will be supporting government mission, government will give you subsidy. And in the name of subsidy, people would still be willing to look and discuss me. If I say no subsidy, they say heavy investment, because initially the investment is heavy to put a solar panel and all. So they wanted to promoting clean green energy. carbon nutrition goal, as I mentioned, this goal of carbon nutrition is by 2047, it should be net zero. A lot of countries have taken a target of 2030. Apple has said, I don't know if anybody would have watched Apple advertisement of Mother Nature, where they say by 2027, we will make it net zero, which is a very bold statement they have done. And they might have done this also. And they say we'll stop putting all plastic packaging in Apple products, because whatever is harming to the nation, harming to the environment, they'll try to do that. And the government incentives, whatever is available, they like to tap. Just like why so many companies started coming into EV, because government was giving certain initiatives. And that's why whenever government is giving initiative, people start investing in there. The strength of this company is their synergic leadership. They say because we both have MBA and somebody's engineer and MBA. So like icing on the cake, where he knows the market, he knows the business, and he also knows business. They developed strong research and development capabilities. As I mentioned, if you develop R&D capabilities, like for example, we always would have heard of horizontal solar panels, which is lying straight on the roof. Have you heard of vertical solar panels? Possible, not possible? Where on a standing line,
So the usual ones are the rooftops ones are, it comes under which category? The rooftops, I mean, the standing ones. Okay.
Yeah. So there are developments happened where we are having a vertical panels also, because of space constraint and other things. They are having vertical also. So the technology is changing. Research and development, you start doing, some things will come out, and also it also depends on the fiber, like which cell, because these are made of solar cells. How the solar panel is made? Every panel is
the rooftops are it started off initially. I mean, the solar panel started off only a standalone rooftops format, right? Initially, it started off in that way.
No. Initially started with mega parks. Initially started with the corporates. Initially started with
corporates. Then residential. It moved to the.
Then residential moved, because then they realized, because we need to acknowledge that China developed this, that why can't we make a smaller panels which can be used for individual houses? So because they see what happens is when we try a business, they try with bigger things first. Absolutely, government circuit houses. Absolutely, they started with governments also. So they say, let us try with bigger things, corporate. If it is working for corporate, then we can make it a business model and go to the lowest channel. Because why it cannot work with retail? If you go to a retail house and say do that, they will say, why are you trying with me? Because I have not seen the success story. But when you show that, okay, governments have put in, the corporates have put in, they are saving their energy, you should also save your money, and then you actually see it, that corporates saving their electricity bills, then you started accepting it. Because in a retail mindset, you only go with
retail mindset. They may resist. I mean,
they always resist. Retail mindset always, and they always want a validation proof, and they don't want to become a trial and error. That you start with me first, so that
maybe they want immediate results.
Absolutely, they because they don't have a patience. They want the results. They don't want their investment to go waste. That you may try. So that's a tried and tested they would like to go for. So they know that there is an opportunity of export oriented, and as I mentioned, our cost of production is much cheaper as compared to Europe, Middle East. So they all ask us to set up your manufacturing setup. Today only if you would have seen the headlines of the newspaper. Again, I'm just taking some other example just to explain what happens in the today newspaper headlines. That Trump said to Apple, India will take care of itself. Stop producing in India. Come to America, produce here. And what did Apple said? We will continue to produce in India, because they know that we have a lot of technology here, and the cost of production is much cheaper as compared to other developed parts of the world. The cost is at least 1/3 is the cost impact. Okay. So because of a good quality coming at the same price, everyone like to save their cost. And that's why they say, okay, let us continue in making in India. So that's why all Middle East and all other companies in the Europe are asking all Indians to set up manufacturing unit of solar panels. This way, environment sustainability will be always safeguarded. That's the objective. Their future outlook is expand global reach, through exports, collaborate with the government and private players, invest in advanced battery technologies, because now the batteries where you can save is another device where for some time, if you're not able to use, you put it into batteries, save the money, save the energy. Enhance automation and smart energy storage systems. So in like automation is the key in whatever you do. If you can understand the business, I'll give a classic example in one of our IT head in one of our organizations from a big four. He left the IT job, went to Chennai, and it's a real fact. He went to Chennai, he started farming, and he started a hydroponic farming. What is hydroponic farming? He will put a system, he will put a computer pipes generated through computer. The system will automatically tell how much water required for this plant. System will automatically put that water, no manual intervention of giving water. So neither you are giving over water, neither you are giving underwater. And that way, the technology is booming up. Similarly, in solar, many places, if you would have traveled, many places in airport, in railway stations, in railway stations, the platforms, they are being used as solar panels where there's a space available. So the government is trying to make maximum utilization of those space. When you cross on the roads, on the river side, river fronts, a lot of solar plants have been put in on the river fronts to get the excess sunlight, because that's the area in near dams and all. In dams, so you will find certain places in the dams where you're also generating hydro, you're also generating wind, and also generating solar at the same time based on the best location advantage. So that's what they thought, that this is our area and forte. Now, how much time generally takes an inventory? Now, if we say inventory takes 10 months, okay, and so I'm making a raw material, and raw material to final product becomes 10 months. Project is immediate ready for installation upon completion. And customer credit period is 6 months post installation. So let's say I installed and 6 months after he gives me. Now, let's say instead of 10 months, it takes 14 months to make it raw material to final product, 14 months. And let's say customer pays me after 15 months. Let's say I installed and customer says, I'll pay you money after 15 months because you are new into the industry. So you are willing to give this kind of leverage to the customer. What do you think? Will we call it the drawing may not be that good, Kavita. So will we call it a current asset or non-current asset? What do you think? What do you think? So can we say 12 months is the only deciding factor, or it is just a guidance? Normally we take 12 months. So 12 months is mandatory, or it's a guidance?
It's a guidance.
It's a guidance. So what does the standard say? What does IAS 1 says? So IAS 1 says current assets or current liability based on your operating cycle. Let's say take example of liquor. How much time it takes to make a best quality wine? Minimum 2 years. That's a minimum 2 years. I'm talking of very average 2 years. So if it is taking 2 years to make a wine starting from grape juice to wine, so for me it will be still a inventory because in current assets, because 12-month is not standard. 12-month is where you're not clear on your operating cycle. For example, if somebody comes and asks CA, what is your operating cycle? So I may not have operating cycle, means I do my audit, give my invoice. Now if the customer, because I don't have industry practice, if customer do not pay me in 12 months, then they say, okay, because you don't have any operating cycle, so generally we take 12 month as a standard benchmark. But if you can do that, but if you can justify that no, 24 month is fine, 24 month will be also fine. Now, what is important for one to understand? What is the relevance of working capital in business? What is the relevance of working capital, and why it is very important for a businessman and a finance guy to understand working capital impact? What do you think? Why working capital is very important? Because I can always give credit to my customers, right? But will my employees give me liquidity? Will my employees says, sir, you will get money after 6 months, you will give me after 6 months? I need to pay my employees on each 30th of the month. My vendors who are working for me, my suppliers who have given work for me, they need money on that time. So this mismatch, if this mismatch is there, who will fund this? Then I need to pump in money. So either I pump in money from my pocket, and if I don't have deep pockets, see, if I have a deep pockets, I can still fund it. But generally, we assume entrepreneurs, first generation entrepreneur, do not have deep pockets. So then they need to go for banks to take loan. And does bank give loan easily?
No.
Bank will ask for collateral, and
Yes.
again I'm talking for first generation people. So they generally have a challenge. So in that time, the smartness would be in that time, ensure your working capital is as minimal required as possible. So that way you don't need to run up. There are, again, this working capital depends on nature of business. There are certain businesses where working capital will be negative on day one. When I say negative on day one means you will get money in advance. Like for example, if you have a Coca-Cola, Colgate franchisee, Colgate, do you think Colgate will give you credit, or Colgate will say pay money upfront and then I'll give you product? Or with Amul, or with
Advance
cars,
payment.
advance payment always. So is it a good situation for me or troublesome? It's a good situation for me. I am getting cash upfront. So liquidity will never be a problem. So I don't need to run after the customers that, okay, give me money. You don't need to run because you don't have a debtors in that way. Just see the balance sheets of all car dealers like Maruti or Tata Motors. You will find very, very minimal trade receivables, very minimal, because the rule is I will give you car only when you give me money upfront, LCBG, whatever, my money is secured. So that part we need to understand. And whenever you are doing business plan, just a second. Is this lines visible to everyone? So if it is uncomfortable, then I'll ask someone to remove.
Yes, sir. These lines
Coordinator, sir, please remove these lines if possible. As I mentioned, my screen is not working today, so if I touch something, it may damage further. There are some vertically or horizontally jugglery done. So if you can remove that. Okay. I would love to play this game. My daughter love to play this game with me, like this scribbling. We scribble. I'll also love to do scribbling, but not on the screen at least. Okay. अमित जी, अगर आप इसको रिमूव कर सकते हैं, because some participants are not able to view clearly the PPT. थोड़ी सी 2-4 लाइनें, or you tell me how to do that, because I am only worried if I do something, it may not. Let me see if I can get. That's a challenge. I may not be able to. Just a second. Let me see if it goes by eraser. Let me take by eraser. If that works out. No. Yeah, that works for eraser. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Once I finish the session, then I can play X and 0 if somebody would like to play X lines. We'll play X and 0. I'll not disappoint you. And I'll win also in that. But just give me some time to finish the next 1.5 hours more. So as I mentioned, because of working capital coming in, they have a challenges. So they have taken a loan. Now I have taken a loan from, let's say, ABC Bank. Installment was due, but I could not pay the installment, right? For some reason, I'm not able to pay the installment. That is, okay, I did an error. We could not pay the installment. Now, what are the terms? So let's say if I've taken a term loan. So what does Ind AS says here? Ind AS 1 says here, there is a term loan I've taken. And that term loan, will I show in long term, short term? Where do you think term loan should be shown? Short term borrowings. Okay, I should show long term. So term loan should be shown on long term. And the current maturity, whatever is the 12 months EMIs, will show in short term. But what will happen if I fail to repay the term loans installments? Then what will happen? And the bank is saying you should have paid it. You have not paid 6 months EMIs, you are NPA. So what is the impact on it? What is the impact on my balance sheet? What do you think could be my impact on my balance sheet for delay or not paying the EMIs? And bank says the rule of the bank is if you default your EMIs, the entire loan becomes repayable on demand. What is the implication of this?
Short. It will get classified in short-term borrowings. Current maturity.
It gets classified into short-term borrowing. Okay. Now, what is the problem in this? What is the problem in this in me for this? So we know. So as a layman, my question is, and the businessman question is as a layman. So Khushi, understand the question from a layman perspective. Let's say your promoter is not a financial sound person in terms of understanding. He's a layman. He's a businessman. He says, okay, Khushi, tell me, before I need to pay 100 crore, you have classified 95 into long term and 5 crore in the short term. Now you're saying we defaulted. Now you're saying put 100 crore in short term. What does it impact? What difference does it make? Number is 100. I am a numbers guy. Tell me what impact does it? Financial burden to repay it. Okay. So one is financial burden to repay. What is the other impact? Another very big impact. Does working capital ratio, current asset, current liability ratio impact somewhere?
Yes.
It will be heavily going down. And when it goes heavily down, it will become a huge challenge. No one else will fund you. Apart from this, whatever is the biggest drawback, you know what is the biggest drawback? Suppose I have 5 loans with me. I have taken 5 loans. Loan from A, B, C, D, 5 banks I have taken a loan. 4 banks I am paying loan on time. Perfectly I am paying time. 1 bank I messed up. 1 bank I have not paid. And they say, Sumit, now it is repayable on demand. This term loan becomes repayable on demand. Then what do you think? All other 4 loans also need to be shown as a repayable on demand? Or no?
No.
Common sense is no. That's a common sense. Okay. But if you read the terms and conditions of the loan, the loan sanction paper, read that. So there is a cross default clause. What does a cross default clause means? Now think yourself, if you are a bank, 2, 3, 4 bank, you are the 4 banks whom been paid correctly. will you not be uncomfortable with that? Okay, Sumit has paid four fine. One bank he has not paid. So can this also happen to me? Yes, no, maybe. Will the bank will say, or no, we are fine, we are paid, we are fine, or bank will work proactively that if he has defaulted to one bank, tomorrow he can also default to me. Got it?
Chances are there.
Chances are there because you are giving a signal to them. And that's why in all loans, by default, you just read any loan document. Now, whenever you go for audit, so this is a homework for you. If you go for audit and any client see a loan agreement, read this agreement, this clause. Mandatory, this clause will be there in all banks that if you default in any of the loans of any bank, it will be assumed that all loan becomes callable on demand immediately. So that becomes a huge challenge, and that's why people try to manage. Now, this is one of the so in Ind AS and IFRS, this is one of the carve out. Anyone knows what is a carve out related to this point? Anyone would have read this Ind AS and IFRS on this point? What is the carve out on this point? Where default happened at the year end and till the board meeting. So let's say year end happens on 31st March 24, and the board meetings happen, or the AGM happens on 30th September 2024. If in this period I go and settlement done with a bank and bank agrees, do I need to show it as a current or I can still show as a non-current? Till my board meeting, if I can get settlement with the bank and bank is happy with me, whatever promises I done to the bank, do I need to show it as a still current or I can still show non-current even after default but bank adjusted?
Non-current, but disclosure should be there.
Non-current but disclosure should be there. Okay. Now, what do you think IFRS says about this? In the same scenario, does IFRS says give him a benefit of doubt, or they say no, it should be done as on 31st March only, before that only? What do you think? So that is the carve out. In IFRS, you don't have a time from March to June or whatever board meeting, because they say for us it is not an adjusting event. That's the difference between IFRS and Ind AS, because according to them, if the default has happened on this date, and if the bank has not given a permission till this date, we don't take a effect after that. So that point we need to understand and keep in mind once we work on IFRS and Ind AS gaps. So this has become a challenge because of operating cycle. Just give me a minute. Now they started negotiating with lenders because they need money, and they agreed that, okay, they got a discussion with ABC. ABC says, okay, breach, we understand the breach. We have a confidence in the entrepreneur. So mutual agreement reached before financial audit accounts that we discussed. ABC agreed not to demand loan repayment immediately. And they say, we believe on your ethics and viability and we give you time. So as I just mentioned, in IFRS, this will not work out. In IFRS, negotiation should happen before 31st March only, because they say this is not the event which should be not aware. But in Ind AS, we have put a relaxation because of various factors. They realize that if the bank is okay to make an adjustment, then let us adjust it. So this is the adjustment we did in IFRS. So as we discussed, they find a faith in them, and also why they do not do that. Any reason why bank will be lenient to do this? In real life, bank would be lenient to these kind of businesses. Any idea why? Any reason why a bank would be lenient to a green energy loan default? Generally, they will be giving more time to them. Any idea why? Any thoughts? Why bank?
So that they will not stop working.
Okay. So how does bank get impacted due to this?
They have to pay the amount immediately, and their financial status become very bad.
Okay.
Because everyone start.
Okay. Don't you think bank also need to look good in front of RBI? When it goes to RBI, bank will not say, look, sir, we are funding eco-friendly projects, sustainable projects, and we are giving
Yes, it
support
has
to
to
them.
stand good in its financial statements, strong financially. It has to be financially stronger.
And the bank will always also promote that, okay, we are also doing our part for the society, for the nation. And that's why something new projects which is like on sustainability and all, bank supports them to the extent. And that's why a lot of fundings are given to these new ventures of EV and all, because of bank also need to understand these are teething issues. It will take time, and if the product is sure, and if the technology is sure, and the area is sure, so they know there is no second option to EV. There is no second
They
option to
come
solar
forward
panel
for funding.
for funding, and that's why they bet on that. And as I mentioned, green energy demand is rising globally. As I mentioned, the wind is the number one. Then comes the solar, and you can just see from the just size. I just need to put how much space it is. You just see the space, and this one turbine can generate sufficient energy for a village. But if it comes to solar panel, entire farm I need to put for solar panel. Any drawback you can think of wind energy, windmill, which people have actually posted globally, not only in India, globally, that why we are against windmill. Any thoughts? And I see, because nothing is as in life, you cannot satisfy everybody. Some things will always be there. Somebody will always be against your idea, good or bad, separate story. But some will always come against it. Any idea? Any idea you can think of wind which becomes a challenge on wind? Where it become a challenge on wind? So these are very genuine issues you are talking genuinely, but I'm talking of something which can be a very big issue or can be a very small issue. And one of the issue was raised was, they say this may lead to damage of bird population. That bird may get cut by these fans, and then we should stop completely. Now we understand it may happen, it may not happen, but then the study was asked that, okay, show me which bird would fly to this height generally, or something which is running, it may. So this becomes a huge challenge in certain parts of the world. It was stopped only because of bird population getting issue. And again, that is always uh, so that is a specific location specific. So I don't know if you have heard the bird name Godawan. In Rajasthan, there are very few birds left of Godawan, and because of 63 birds left, entire village is not getting an electricity line, because they say if you put electricity on this area, they will sit on the electricity fencing and they will die. So that's again a challenge of certain places. So this wind is, as I mentioned, is highest, but in India, solar is taking leaps now because it is easy to export solars. Lot of take all big groups in India. Take all big groups in India, starting from top 10 listed companies in India. Everybody's into solar now. Just go and check solar or wind. They all are into green energy. Anybody who tracks development in this, you'll find all companies into green or wind. I think in Gujarat is supposed to have the Asia's largest solar plant that is supposed to be planted. Now, they realize that to grow big, they need to take funding. And debts are, in our personal upbringing, we are always told, don't take debt, right? In any family, we are always told by our parents, our elders, that do not borrow money or borrow very little. Debts are not good for life. Does this concept goods hold for corporates? Debts are not good, or what do you think? Whatever is told in personal life, does auto works in? So till what level debts are good in business? Till what level you think? What is the optimum level of debt one should take? Any vague thought? What is the optimum level of debt one should take generally? You will suggest capital structure up to what level? So someone asks you, you are a finance head, and promoter is asking you that, okay, tell me, I'm new, how much debt should I take? What would be your response? $133 to 1. Interesting number. As long as we can guarantee, or you can have strong probability that the cash flows are coming frequently, regularly, that your interest payment is getting matched up. If there is any volatility in your cash flows coming in, then this will be a suicidal attempt for a business. Where you have a recurring revenue, where you can ensure that it is interest payment can always go on time, then you should take a debt. Second, unless I am not making profit, debt does not make sense. Why debt does not make sense? Because I need to get a tax benefit of debt. Then only it makes sense. So one need to keep in mind when how much debt to take. So similarly, to grow, you need a debt. So they realized that they need to take a debt. So they wanted to go for external commercial borrowings. ECBs are borrowings taken from outside India. So any Indian company can borrow from money outside India, though with RBI approval. You need to give, it's not that blanket you can take it. You need to inform RBI, make an agreement and inform that, okay, this is the borrowing I am taking. Any idea why I need to take RBI approval? I am taking money, it's my risk. If I fail, I fail. How come regulator is involved in this? Any vague thoughts?
Because whenever we have to pay back, we pay in Indian currency and it reduces the value.
So my foreign FEMA, I need to manage. FEMA is Foreign Exchange Management Act. So you may do a stupidity of taking at a very high interest rate. So what will happen? The money will go out from my India pocket. So the government needs to look into it. Are you taking at an arm's length price, or are you taking at such a absurd terms and conditions which can damage my cash outflow? When I say my, means India cash outflow. If my INR gets impacted, you beat my INR, so government will not approve that. And that's why government needs to know that you should take a sensible decision. We understand it is you who are bearing the final brunt, but because of your actions, it may have an impact on my cash FX reserves. So that's why the government is very clean on that. So they have taken a INR denominated NCDs, non-convertible debentures, which means you need to pay it back. It's a 7 years, and because it is green energy, a lot of investors are willing to fund in India on those projects. This, because of 7 years, you have long time, you take it. Now, because IFRS or Ind AS, IFRS is the global language of accounts. So just like we use hello as a starting point in across the globe when we talk on phone, similarly across the globe, generally IFRS is preferred as a first accounting language where investors understand. Since in India we have two choices, if you are voluntary, I can go for Ind AS and AS. If I'm a small company or not meeting, what is the turnover criteria? What is the net worth criteria for having Ind AS applicability? What should be my minimum net worth criteria for having an Ind AS applicability? It is minimum 250 crores. If I'm having a 250 crore above net worth, then Ind AS applies on me. And if I'm 100 crore net worth, it is my choice. Do I want to remain in AS, or I can voluntarily adopt in Ind AS? So that way you take a call. Now, foreigners generally do not prefer AS. Any idea why they don't prefer AS? Any idea why? What is there? They are not comfortable with AS, and that's why they want Ind AS or equivalent to IFRS generally. Why is that so? Because AS is on historical cost basis, and Ind AS or IFRS is on fair value basis. So an investor wants to know more on a real-time basis. What is your fair value in your books, not on historical cost, because historical cost could be deceptive. And that's why all investors look for IFRS oblique Ind AS. So they told them, okay, if you want a ECB, give us a Ind AS report. Once you give us a Ind AS financials, we will look into it and submit to the investors before ECB issuance. So they submitted to the auditor, look into that. Robin is the auditor who reviewed it, and it is his first observation was, he said that in your Ind AS, you have not presented extraordinary item nature separately. So this is a misrepresentation of income and expenses. That is an error. What is your view? Is this an error or justified error or not justified error? So they made a P&L and there is extraordinary item which was not shown separately. What is your view? Robin, understanding is perfect or company do not understand Ind AS? What is your view? Any quick thoughts on this? Anyone has any view on this? Robin, take out an observation that the company has not presented extraordinary nature items separately. So as you rightly mentioned, this is not a right observation because in Ind AS, everything is ordinary. The standard says you don't need to show anything extraordinary. So everything, this concept is not there in Ind AS and IFRS. So this was in AS, this is still in AS. In AS, you have still two things, extraordinary and exceptional item separate. We can have exceptional item presentation, but there cannot be extraordinary. They say, because, if you see Indian balance sheets with AS, they have two line items. They show extraordinary and exceptional. So they say it is difficult to justify what is extraordinary and what is exceptional. We will only show exceptional item. We want to show something, but there is no extraordinary concept in this. So that's why we need to remove this extraordinary and it will never be there. Now, second observation which he pointed out is that he said that the company has done an error on reversing the goodwill impairment. So there was an impairment done of goodwill last year. And this year, because of the growing business model, getting huge orders, the company find that it is good to reverse the loss of goodwill which they booked earlier. They want to reverse it. What do you think? Is this observation fine or not yet fine? Any quick thoughts on this? Ind AS 36 impairment of assets, what does it say? Can we do reversal of impairment losses? Goodwill cannot be reversed. And why is that so, Rutuja? Why do you think? Because standard is specifically prohibited. Goodwill cannot be reversed. But can I reverse other assets? So let's say I did an impairment loss of property, plant, equipment, and next year I think again the capacity of operating capacity started increasing, and then I started reversing it. Is that possible? For property, plant, equipment, any impairment loss I have put in to the extent of previous impairment. So we can never make any gains in reversal. Only to the extent you have booked a loss that can be done. And goodwill, once written off, you can never write it back, never ever. Ind AS and IFRS both have same standard. There is no carve out for this. They both says that it should not be done ever. That way it should be always shown out, always. So which his observation is right here, because here he is observed that as per Ind AS 36, goodwill cannot be reversed at all. And anybody would have read on Ind AS 36, what do we determine? You compare carrying amount with what? The carrying amount of assets you compare with what? You compare with recoverable amount. So carrying amount is the benchmark which you compare with recoverable amount. Do we also do an impairment of liabilities? Trade payables impairment assessment also we do?
No.
It is always of assets. Impairment is always of assets, not of any liabilities. And recoverable amount is computed by, you compute recoverable amount by carrying the fair value of the assets, or
Okay, value.
what is the other term?
Net realizable value.
That is fair value of the assets.
Okay. Yeah.
What is the other term? That is value in use. It is value in use. What value you could determine by, and how values is determined by DCF method. So that way we use it. So recoverable amount, if it is higher, then there is no need to book any impairment. And if you ever, and do we need to test goodwill every year, or only because on certain economic crisis happen, then only we need to look into testing of goodwill? So let's say I did a M&A merger acquisition in 2015, 10 years back. That time I put a goodwill. Now, does goodwill assessment need to happen every year, or only when certain event like COVID, war, or crisis, I need to look into it? What do you think? Any idea? What do you think?
On certain events, not on
So
every year.
Goodwill is mandatory every year. Goodwill impairment testing is mandatory every year. Standard Ind AS 36 makes it mandatory that goodwill has to be tested every year. There are one more item which need to be tested every year. Any idea which asset need to be also tested every year? So one is goodwill. There is one more asset that needs to be tested every year. Whether there is external indicator or there is no external indicator, whether there is an internal indicator or no internal indicator. Any idea which asset could be also mandatory need to be tested every year, even if there is no certain events? And that is those intangible assets. Brilliant, Prituja. Partly correct answer. So 50% marks to you on this. Is it only intangible assets or some specific intangible assets? So let's say I have a software. Let's say I have a SAP or Tally or Oracle in my assets, which has a brilliant answer. So there are two intangibles. One, any intangibles in WIP that needs to be tested every year mandatory. Second, any intangible who have an indefinite life, like software life, we say 3 years, 5 years software. So I don't need to do it. Let's say you have a brand. I could have a brand. Does brand have a definite life? Yes, no, maybe. Do brands have a definite life? They don't have a definite life. So they are indefinite life. So perpetual. So that's why you need to do it every year. So these two things need to be tested every year: goodwill, intangibles in WIP, and intangibles with brand indefinite period. His third observation
Sir,
is,
what could be the example which fits into the category of intangible assets, WIP? I mean, to be precise.
Okay. Let's say I'm making a software. Okay, I'm making a software. Now this software is in WIP stage, not yet completed. Okay. Now, why testing is required? Logically, why do you think software testing is required? Or I am making a patent medicine. I'm making a medicines which will make someone healthy back. Reverse aging medicine I'm making. I'm trying reverse aging medicine. Then why do you think We are required to do that. So first, what if technology changes? Now, were you aware that earlier ChatGPT used to be talked about a lot? ChatGPT, NVIDIA company stock. You heard that? Last year, everybody was talking on AI and ChatGPT, right? And then China made an announcement. I'm launching DeepSeek. What happened to the NVIDIA? What happened to the NVIDIA stock that time? Now you tell me, now if I am making a software, now will I make on AI ChatGPT or I need to upgrade on DeepSeek? Logically, if I know there is a change in technology, change in an ecosystem, change in an environment, nobody will buy my ChatGPT because now people may go for DeepSeek. So then I need to go for OpenAI DeepSeek. So that's why any intangible which is in process. Let's say take an example of COVID vaccine. I am trying to make a COVID vaccine, let's say in 2020. Okay. But suddenly, I'm just giving a very absurd argument. Suddenly, someone says, okay, take neem leaves and methanol leaves, mint leaves, eat it, you'll be fit and fine. Let's say hypothetically. And let's say by eating neem leaves and methanol leaves and mint leaves, you got immunity in life. Now, do you think anybody will like to buy my COVID vaccine? Should I continue my research on that or I need to write it off? What do you think? When I know there will be no buyers, because alternate medicine is developed, the government has already started giving booster doses. People will not take my medicine, so I need to scrap that, and that's why any intangible which is in WIP, we always need to change. Let's say take example of your Euro batteries. Euro batteries version 2000, version 3, version 4. Let's say I'm making some technology on diesel cars. Okay, diesel car. And then suddenly the state government announces that no diesel cars will be running in our state. So any product which I'm making for diesel cars, any intangible assets, that will go waste. So that's why specific anything which you are making which is intangible in WIP, they need to be doubly sure. And that is why you see nowadays they started putting years when you are getting expected to complete 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, that way. Fine. Now
So a
coming back
deadline
to
is kept.
Sorry, please.
A deadline is kept.
Absolutely. That's why they want to see whether you are actually intended to complete or not. Let's say, just to give an example, because this is actually factually we have done it. One of the company we audited has said, okay, I'm making ERP. I'm making SAP ERP, in-house ERP we're making. And they put half of the ERP and some dispute happened in the company and they are not making it further. Now, 3 years onwards, they are keeping this ERP as a WIP. And we asked that now, are you going to complete it or not? They say, we are thinking, we are planning. 3 years, you don't take it to plan. And now the problem is, because entire technology got changes. The platform got changes. Now, instead of manual, now people are going to automate it. They're putting AI in the softwares. Now they don't want to write it off because the moment they write it off, it requires a P&L gets hit. They cannot complete the software because they need huge funding. So they are fixed. Luckily, they are not in India, so that's why it does not fall onto them. But it is an expense which is asset you are carrying on balance sheet but not relevant. And that's why in Companies Act, now you need to give a disclosure. This WIP is pending WIP for how long, when you intend to complete. So it shows if something is more than 3 years in technology, it is outdated. No point in continuing that way.
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, if it would have been India's compliant, then it should have written off, right? I mean, because technology is affecting. So yes, it didn't run into a soup in that case.
Absolutely. Now, one of the observations he observed that the company has shown only basic EPS. They have not shown diluted EPS. The company argument was we have no anti-dilutive instruments. We don't have CCPS, we don't have CCD, so we don't need to show it. They've only shown basic EPS. What is your view on that? This observation is right, or Robin observation is right that they have not shown diluted EPS, they should have shown it, or we can take the argument of management that okay, it is fine even if you don't have shown it because you don't have an instrument. What is your view? You are the auditor now. You need to submit it to the
They should also show the diluted EPS as it is in the interest of the people who invest in the project or in the company. They should know about the real situation.
even if you do not have it, you still need to show both. So that's why how I would come to know whether your basic and diluted is same. When I'm showing basic and diluted is same, it gives me a comfort that there is
Comparison has to
no
be shown.
comparison has to be shown. And then I will come to know there is no such instrument. But if you just give me only basic and you do not show diluted, that means as an investor, I don't have full picture to see whether there will be some diluted EPS or not. Now, one quick question, Ind AS 33 on EPS. Let's say I have 10,000 shares as of 31st March 2025, 10,000 shares. And then I have also issued 10,000 CCD, compulsory convertible debentures, where I have told it will be converted into 1:1, that each CCD will be converted into 1 equity shares. So I have 10,000, let me make it 20,000 to have a better understanding. I have 10,000 equity shares issued as on 31st March. I have issued 20,000 CCD, numbers of 20,000, and each CCD will be given 1 equity. So when they will convert, I will have 20,000 equity conversion. Now, if I want to compute EPS today, will my basic and diluted will be different or same? As on 31st March 2025, I need to compute EPS. My question is, my basic and diluted EPS will be different or it will be same?
Different.
Okay, Latika view is different.
Same.
Neha views is different.
Same.
Okay. Same, sorry, Neha views is same. Okay. So when you're saying same, how much you will take in denominator? 10,000 or 30,000?
10,000. 10,000. Because when the debentures get converted in actually, we take that.
So, Neha, your answer is right, but the logic is wrong. Bottom line is you'll get the marks. That's the bottom line. But the logic is wrong. Why logic is wrong? Now, diluted EPS, will you not take it? Will you not take it in diluted EPS at least? At least. Forget basics. Will not come out of basics. But on diluted, is it not a potential dilution of equity because I have already committed 1:1? Shall I take or not take in diluted EPS? Which Latika view was there that we should take in diluted EPS. Right, Latika? That was your view? Which Prasant is also saying that we should take it as a potential shares, right? So I need to take it in diluted for sure. The moot question is, shall I take it in basic EPS also? Even though it has not converted, even though it is still CCD? What is your view? Yes, no, maybe?
Basic EPS will remain same.
Latika, when you say remain same means basic EPS should...
We will not consider the impact of diluted CCD in computation of basic EPS.
Okay. Now just note point number 23, para number 23 of Ind AS 33. Whenever you get time, just Google that. Go open Ind AS 33 from the MCA book or wherever you get it. Read para 23 and what does it says. I'll give you a break of 10 minutes after next slide. I'll give you a break of 10 minutes. In that, you need to search this and find out what does it says to me. Okay. So again, just for all, the answer is I need to consider in basic EPS those 20,000 debentures also, because Ind AS 33 says because you have already issued committed 1:1. So dilution should be taken in day one, even though it has not been converted. And I understand common sense, it does not make clarity in common sense that, it is still a CCD. Why should I put into basics? But again, that's why we need to read the interpretation of the standard. And once we read para 23 of this, we'll get an answer to this. Or maybe I can open the standard and I can get it open for you after the break. Last slide, I'll take it. There is a small change happen in contained liabilities. We disclose contained liabilities in the notes to accounts. So some insignificant changes happen in contained liabilities, and the management says immaterial, not required. So let us not put it. But Robin says no, whether small or big, any change in contained liability, we need to show the actual contained liability which a management is thinking. What is your view? Is it right, not right?
We should show the contingent liability. We should disclose it. Either is small, minor, or big.
So mandatory, we need to show contained liability, even it is minor change. It becomes relevant for understanding financial position. That is very relevant. So you cannot take a call that it is a small amount. Any small thing can become big, but we need to show contained liability. Investor is very, very important factor to look into investments. Can I also show contained assets in notes to accounts? Just like
No.
Okay. So Neha, why no? Logically, no. Are you not?
Because contingent assets are futuristic. Whenever there may be probability.
Okay. Then my argument would be, and again, when I argue, again, when I talk to anybody, I'm not trying to prove my point. I'm talking as a layman that I want to argue as a businessman, right? So you are a budding chartered accountant and I am a businessman. So I want to argue with you, and which this argument will come to you. So now, as you said, content assets are futuristic, which is probable. My logic would be then also Neha, the content liability is also futuristic, probable. I may win, I may lose, both sides. Now, as a businessman, my question to you as a member of finance profession, my question to you as a businessman is, you are asking me to show a content liability that someone has put a case against me. You are asking me to show so that investor, and it may be false case, it may be genuine case. A case has come on me. Liability may arise, liability may not arise. But you are asking me to show that please show your cases against you, whether it come or not come, just show that number, right? Now, suppose somebody has taken my copyright violation, somebody has infringed my franchisee, somebody has taken my music copyright, and I have put a case against him. Then don't you think you should also show that in my asset, that what if Sumit wins this case, a business wins this case? Then it should not also impact the investor that okay, there might be a potential benefit Sumit may get in future. Negative side you are willing to show, but you're not willing to show my positive side. This is the argument a businessman will do. But then what you will say? What do you think?
Sir, the logic is on the same lines that if we have a possible expense, we create a provision for it. But if there's a possible income, we don't already prepare for it or account for it. It's same like you prepare for the worst case scenario, not assuming the best.
So you are saying we should go on a prudence basis concept.
Yeah, conservatism.
Yes,
Conservative.
sir. We should be conservative.
Okay, brilliant. Then my second argument to you is, okay, just for all sake, conservative principle has been deleted. Now that does not come into Ind AS. Because if you say conservatism, then why should you asking me to put investments at fair value? Because unrealized gain, am I not jacking up my financials by showing fair value, which I have not even sold it, which I may realize, I may not realize? Today I'm having a stock. You understand the gap? You understand the gap? Earlier in AS, we used to have fixed investments at cost. You bought a share of listed company or unlisted company, we'll put at cost. Whether it is you bought it at 100 rupees On a stock market, it is going at 500 rupees. You will still show in your books 100. We never used to book a unrealized gain. But in India's, we says conservatism does not work into accounting. Prudence concept does not work into accounting. You just cannot say book losses and don't show gains. Now, contained asset concepts came in India's and IFRS. So if there is a case which I have filed and probabilities that I may win, I will also show in notes to accounts. And you'll be surprised. Lot of people who want to do a short-term trading on your stock, they buy your company shares by reading this note. So I have a lot of friends in US, and they say in US how people buy stocks, those were traders, those are punters. If you write in your balance sheet that I put a case against Apple, Samsung, Sony, or any other big brand, what do you think? They would like to go for long case or out of court settlement generally?
Out of court settlement.
Out of court settlement. So will my client get money? My client get money. So my share value will go on, and that's why they make money out of this. So contained asset. So I repeat. In AS, contained asset concept is not at all there. There is no such concept of contained assets in accounting standards AS because of historical cost and conservative principle. Whatever you all answered, that logic works in AS. When it comes to Ind AS, if there is a contained asset, I also need to show it because the standard setters and abroad are when they set up the IFRS, they say I should give both benefits to the business. If I'm showing his negative side, that is cases against him, I should also show him the positive side, the cases which he filed and he might get it. But again, nothing will come into the balance sheet till it is actually crystallized. We will always show as a contingent, right? Asset or liability. So this is all. We can quickly take a 7 minutes break. Can we take? It is 20:29. Can you take 5 minutes break? We can just take a quick 5 minutes comfort break and come back at 20:35. And then we can finish. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we'll just take a break of 5 minutes and come back in 5 minutes. Thank you all. clause 23 of India's 33, where it mentions that why the basic will consider those shares in case of mandatory convertible from day one. So that part we need to keep in mind. Now to start with from where we left, now the implication of these queries pointed out by Robin would be ECB will raise flag on potential financial fraud reporting. And if the investor does not get a comfort on financials, the funding gets stopped. Audit may result in qualified or modified opinion if you do not comply with certain terms and conditions. So you need the need of stronger financials and training. And that's why you need to step up. Any team, you need to have a competent team. You cannot always expect auditor to come and rectify. The in-house team should have basic understanding. They have taken a 4 crore ECB raised after the agreement. Application of funds, they wanted to pay 2.5 crores to outstanding loan of ABC, which they defaulted. Working capital, they want to take for 1.5 crores. And they have taken this ECB to have pressure removed from ABC, and 7 years vintage, they will have to fund it, the business, so that nobody will disturb them. They have not taken hedge of principal and coupon obligations because is it compulsory to hedge or it is optional? What do you think? What do you think? If I have taken an ECB loan, is it mandatory for me to hedge, or it is my wisdom? Should I hedge or not hedge? What do you think? Any thoughts on this? Is it compulsory to hedge, not hedge? So it is not compulsory to hedge. It is always your choice. You can always take a call. As a businessman, you are taking a risk. If you think there is no need, sensibility, if you believe in safety of capital, you will always like to take a hedge. If you want to take safety of capital. If you think you can time the market, if you think you know the market better, if you think it will always fall in your favor, you can avoid. If I would be a finance manager, finance head, I will always advise to do at least some hedging. We call it, don't keep a naked loan. If you keep something unhedged, you never know when the market changes because this FX is not in your hand. Any one global event happened and your entire FX gets a huge hit. So that part we need to always keep in mind. That should be always, exposure should be always hedged. How much you want to hedge, that's your call. But it is not compulsory. But they have taken a risk of not keeping hedge. They have taken to use spot rate on the settlement date. That is when the loan get received on 1st June 2024. The agreement was done on 20th May, and they have not used the rate of agreement, that is 20th May. So when I'm converting the liability, what should I take the rate? The agreement date on which I am supposed to get, or the spot rate on which the settlement date on which I got the cash? Which rate should I book? Is it the spot rate on which the transaction happened, or it is the agreement date? So I have taken a agreement date, which is incorrect. I have taken settlement date, which should be always taken. Now they have taken this because they want to enhance the efficiency of GL. They want to develop a new product, SAT, so that they have a strong demand with the regular customers. Challenge is always they can't increase prices much. That is the biggest challenge they have. And the biggest challenge is because customers are very, very sensitive to price increase. And price increase becomes because of perception. If I'm selling something and another competitor is also selling something in the same product, it is called an anchoring bias. My price range will remain in that range only. If I go too high, they will always question that what's different you have, and they say I can always buy an alternate product. Principle of substitution will always work. If I want to buy something and I can always have a substitute at a lesser price with the same amount of quality, I will always buy that. That's a fundamental rule of business. So they made a product and they want to challenge the price. Now their challenge is, without increasing the product price, maintain the profit margin. Now, how do you think it can happen? If I cannot increase my sales, then how can I still maintain my profit margin? Any idea? Then control the cost. If you can't increase the sales, then try to rationalize the cost. Try to get the optimum cost. Here we does not say cost cutting means fire the people or go for low standard instead of getting a high quality thing, give a low quality product. No, that's not the way to go for long. When we say that, okay, use technology to have labor efficiency. Say, for example, now in terms of, I'm sure you would have heard this. Now, in terms of Zomato, Swiggy, the cost is of the drivers, the riders, the one who brings. What if tomorrow the drone starts shipping the product to you for small products? Will it save cost? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? What is your view? If tomorrow for small products, let's say there is a technology which comes and drones comes and drop at your office, at your designated spaces, will it save the cost? Will the technology help the company to make profit? It will make a huge profit. The lending, any idea how much time, how much cost it takes for a delivery rider? Generally, an average order generally cost. Any vague idea? To the company, cost to Zomato, Swiggy, Uber for a parcel. Any vague idea? Prashant, I cannot even say get an idea, Sarji. Idea to big, so that is not there. But any vague thought, how much it will take? Generally, I am talking range. And as I mentioned, in one thing which Deepak sir has started in the right, in IBS paper, nothing is wrong. It is your idea, my idea. We can always have any thoughts. So business is always our own thoughts. But any vague number, if I want to ask, how much you think per person cost would be? Average per ride cost would be. I'm talking just average number. It is 40 to 50 rupees. 40 to 50 rupees is the cost of delivery. And in the drones, they are trying to sell it for 6 to 7 rupees. They are trying to take the permissions from the government to get it operational. Because tomorrow it may happen that you will only see drones coming in the area, in the sky. So that's the technology. If it comes, it will have labor efficiency. Then they will work only for bigger projects idea, and that's why the companies are working on it. There are new startups who are working only on drone this delivery technology only. They only just need a permission to the government to ensure that airspace. Who will control airspace? You understand the problem? You are flying my drone, I am flying your drone, we both are flying our drones, and I am a non-skilled pilot, I may damage it, so it has to be properly, there has to be just like flights have a radar system, flights have a flight control room, they wanted to develop this technology that drones have a control room. So that way, this solar can also improve if you have a technology which can bring labor efficiency. That's the costing comes in. So they realize that they can make efficiency in production by 25% increase. So before I used to make 10 units in 13 hours, that is 1.33 per unit per hour. If I follow the productivity measures, labor efficiency AI tool, I can produce 10 units in 10 hours. That is 1 hour per unit. So that means my revised labor requirement is 75 hours per unit. That's the way I can improve. As penny saved is penny earned. So my target was to make 3,000 units in the same time without destroying the quality. I developed 3,600 because of efficient utilization of technology. So if I compare my costing, because costing is the ultimate key. As an entrepreneur, you need to know the costing very well. Finance is something different. Balance sheet P&L is something different. Costing is about that. You need to understand how much actual cost it takes to make a product. So your units got increased from 3,000 to 3,600, and that way it will have your impact on labor hour, that is get reduced, which is a positive sign. Now this implementation of new strategy is that you will find a new buyer. There is a service provider, Mark Limited. He will give you technical support, and his invoice is 1 million GBP, 100,000 GBP. 100,000 pounds is his invoice. Engagement is on 20th December. He's raised invoice on 28th December. Payment was done on 22nd January. Now implication will come on either GST or TDS. Now, post efficiency, GL was able to match with competitors. They are getting a quotation file for electricity board, Kerala State Electricity Board, because near to Tamil Nadu, Kerala is there. So that is a good mandate for them, because they are able to, due to low cost, they are able to pitch for government tenders, because government tenders are generally given on lowest L1 tender basis. The one which will give me the lowest cost, they will get the tender. So one of the friend of Rishi Raman is a head of KSAB. He said, okay, I'll help you out. We will give you 20 lakh units order. Total value of the contract is 20 crore rupees. 2 crores we will withheld as a security. We will pay you after security deposit or retention money after 12 months. And second payment will pay you after deducting TDS and GST, whatever deductions need to be required. In fact, there are a lot of MNCs in India, companies, they will not pay your GST. Let's say you bill 1 lakh rupees of service and 18,000 GST. So your bill is 1,18,000 rupees. They will pay you 90,000 only for the time being. They will deduct 10,000 your TDS and 18,000, when they will pay you? When you actually deposit GST, submit their name in the return, and they see that in GSTR 2, 3B, their name is getting reflected, then they pay. So these are certain companies who follow these terms to ensure that GST fraud does not happen to them. So here also they say we'll pay after deducting everything. They did everything, contract they did, completed, made 2 crore profit. Sort of 20 crore, they put 2 crore profit. Compliances has been done. What is the norm? Whatever you need to pay income tax and GST. Then Vijay thought, the friend of Rishi thought, how long I'll work? Let me also have a stock market exposure, because everybody is talking that make money while you sleep. So let us put in money in stock market. So with the craze and with the FOMO, fear of missing out the opportunities, he started putting money in stock market. And you always think you are smart enough in the market, so you try to do lot of options. So he tried to do a intraday trade. So he did an intraday and options. So he did an average value of 85 lakhs turnover in BSC intraday and made a 7 lakhs profit. And he did intraday in NSC, 60 lakhs, 7 lakhs turnover, and made a loss of 6 lakh rupees. And he made a commodity tradings, F&O. He used to do future and options on again NSC, BSC. Trade value 52 lakhs and the profit is 2 lakhs. Now, how much would be my speculation income or loss? How much would be my speculation income? 3 lakhs or 1 lakh? What do you think? What do you think becomes my speculation income? 1 lakh or 3 lakhs? When I need to file my ITR, what should I show? The difference of 7 minus 6, 1 lakh plus 2 lakh, 3 lakh is my speculation income. Anyone else has a different view? So I got one view that 3 lakhs should be your speculation income. So only 1 lakh will be my speculation income. The 2 lakh, which is future and options, commodity derivatives trading, will be considered as a business income. So we will only set off 7 minus 6. So only 1 lakh remains my speculation income, right? Only speculative loss can be set off, only speculative profit. Absolutely right. That is fine. Set off point is right. But will the F&O income or commodity trading income will be a speculation? Answer would be no. Then it will become under normal business and professional income that way. Now, after doing all this, we realize it is not worth the effort. I should better hire an expert who will manage my portfolio. I'll give him 2 crores fund because it is always sensible to keep the person expert on what he's capable of. So he said, whatever money I made, 2 crore rupees, I'll give to him. He given to one CA who is a professional. Yeah, Latika, please, if you wanted to ask a question, please ask. Latika, you want to ask something? Because I saw a hand raise or by mistake.
No, sir, sorry, that was by mistake.
No issues, no issues. So they decided to hire someone, a portfolio manager, who will manage their portfolio. The agreement was he will charge 20%, 0.2% is a fixed management fees. Whether you make money or not make money, this is money I'll take for managing the portfolio. If I make, they call it hurdle return. If I make you return more than 2.2 crores since inception, I will charge 1% on that. So that way you can always put money you make it. So whatever you are making gross return in excess of 2.2 crores, you will charge 1% of that. And that's what worker works at. Now let me take some questions. Probably we have discussed majority questions we have discussed during the call itself, during the session itself. But still, will you classify inventory and trade receivable of GL as current, where it is taking 10 months and 6 months, 16 months to get the recovery? So debtor is taking 16 months time and inventory was taking 10 months time. So we will classify them as a current receivables, current assets. The question was, what if it is 13 months and 15 months? So we discussed that if the operating cycle could be justified as 13 and 15 months, then also they will be still classified as current assets. My answer should not change just because if it is a normal operating cycle of the company, so the company says it takes me 15 months to make the realize, then it should be an operating cycle. Now regarding the liability default we discussed, when there is a default in repayment, if I do not get a settlement till the date of board meeting, then how I will show? If I do not get a settlement done from the banker, then it will be a current liability. But what if the banker agrees by the date of board meeting, before we are finalizing the account and the banker agrees to me, then I will show it as a non-current. And then I'll give a the disclosures that during there we defaulted and bank adjusted and all that will show. So disclosure should be there, but it will go under non-current. Second question would become on the transaction of GL and Merck. Will there be a GST impact? And GST will be on which month? The December month where I invoice is rendered, or on the day when I'm making in that month. So invoice was raised in December and payment was done in January. So GST impact I should give in December month, or I should give impact in January when I'm making actual payment. So I should do in December month. So GST will be paid in December month. December month will be taken impact on. Payment will be done by respective date of January, whatever is 22nd day. Yeah, Neha. You're saying something, Neha? Fine. So whenever the invoice is raised, I think Neha, your net probably is not working because I'm not able to hear your voice I hope others are also not able to hear Neha's voice, or the problem is at my end. That I'm not sure. But so in this case, there will be a GST impact. It has to be done. Just give me a minute. Let's skip. Her voice is breaking here. Then it's fine. It's fine. Regarding the question on trading of commodities and derivatives, what are the 4 options? So this is exam question that came in the last November. So as I mentioned, common sense may look even a commodity derivative is also as a speculation, but that is not. Only the speculation income will be 1 lakh, and the non-speculation business will be considered 2 lakh rupees. So that way you need to keep this in mind. So here option B will be the correct answer. Out of this 4, which one you think is correct statement? Regarding to ECB, out of 4, which one you think should be the best statement? So we need to choose which is the correct statement. Option A, B, C, D. So one is ECB cannot be permitted to pay loan of ABC. Payment of working capital is not permitted. Hedging, he has not done hedging, so it is wrong. He should have done hedging mandatory. Exchange rate should have been used 25th only, not the agreement date. Agreement date should be used, not the actual spot rate of 3rd June. So as all you have answered, the correct option is statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 2 is correct, that this is not permitted, rest all are incorrect. And these entire case study in Word document is uploaded on the BOS channel of IBS. Regarding the issues of Robin, which we discussed, of extraordinary EPS, loans, and the liability, only the issue of EPS, all 3 are right except the issue of extraordinary is not relevant. Rest all were right. How much TDS you think should have been deducted by the electricity company on Kerala board on the contract of 20 lakhs? How much TDS should be deducted? So 2% TDS should be deducted on contract, and TDS on GST. And in GST and IGST Act would be how much? %18 on service. So 36 lakhs out of 20 crore, 2 crores. This government value exceeds 50 lakhs. If the government value exceeds 50 lakh, then out of 20 crore, 50 lakh will be given exemption, and then 1.95. Now, I'll take the last question of 5 forces of Porter. If you want to take 5 forces of Porter under this business, what could be your quick answers? Any quick answers? This is probably last question of the day from my side. So any idea if someone asks you what to understand, what do you think would be the best? So threat of new entrants, okay, that would be one. More? Anyone would have read 5 forces of Porter would have some clue on this. You can think on. So I got only one. Bargaining power of suppliers, customers, exit barriers. Exit barriers, how will you justify that one? Suppliers, customers, I understood. Because supplier can be monopoly. If let's say if you're getting parts from China or US, and they can always do a bargaining power. Entry barrier I could understood in this, but exit barriers, why do you think it would be? Just for my understanding, why do you think it could be a exit barrier? Just give me. So what do you think threat to new entrant, is it low or high in this? Okay, fine. So my question is, threat to new entrants in this, is it low or it is high in this? Any thoughts anyone has? In this, the threat of new entrants, which is one of the Porter 5 forces model, is it low or it is high? So it is high. And why it is high? Why it is high? Do I need to take government approval to put a solar panel, or I just need to have a manufacturing unit? What do you think? And the government is promoting renewable energy. So they will stop people, or they will give license, or they will put it open. Anybody who has put money, start your factory, we are there to support you. Or like telecom license, they will say, no, we will give license to only selected people. Or for solar, they will be open to all. What do you think? So they will be open to all. And that's why the threats of new entrant is high. Bargaining power of supplier would be low to moderate, because the product is new. Let's say take example of technology what you are making. So the sellers may not have that much of choice here. So you can always command. So that is taken care of. Regarding the threat of substitute. Threat of substitute is high or low? What do you think? Threat of substitute is high or low? It is high. And why threat of substitute is high? Because with the rapid innovation in battery storage, if someone makes that, okay, I'll give you store the battery from wind, which can be last for long, or hydro, which can be last for long, or alternative energy modules. Have you heard rumor somewhere that someone has tried to make energy from water? Someone tried to run a car from water. Have you ever heard someone tried to generate a fuel from water? Someone tried that. This, something which looks impossible today, may be possible sometime. By adding something, it could be done. So if something could be done cheaper, this becomes a challenge. By breaking hydrogen, absolutely. So someone need to think that this can also happen. Something is not happened does not mean till now it cannot be happening in future. So threat of substitute is high. Industry rivalry is high or low? What do you think? Industry rivalry is very high, because when there is limited players, they always like to stay on the top, and that becomes a challenge. Now, one of the biggest challenges, bargaining power of buyers is high or low, and that determines the entire business model. The bargaining power of buyers is high or low in this model? It is very high. It is very high. Who are your general biggest consumers? Generally, your biggest customers would be, they will be always governments. Government will be your first level of customers. And can you negotiate with government, or you will always work on government terms? What do you think? You may have the best product. Can you win a negotiation with the government? Answer would be no. The negotiation will be always in favor of government, always, irrespective of who you are, irrespective of whatever is your product. And therefore, when the bargaining power of buyer is high, you need to ensure your working capital. So like out of a 20 crore project, if 2 crore government keeps for 1 year, so my cash flow got earned 1 year. I make a profit of 2 crore, that is a book profit. Actually, cash I am getting after 1 year. My present value of 2 crore reduces to 1.7 crore or something less. So I'm making a loss. So that part I need to keep in mind when I'm doing actually a business. So this is all I have shortly. I advise you need to look into the full case study, which is on the portal, and solutions in detail. In exam, case studies will always look big, but everything will look big till you start actually working on it. Always make short notes when you're attempting a question paper, so that you don't need to read it again. Because if it is 3-4 pages case study, then you need to have short summary of the case study which is coming in. Then only you can answer it better. With this, if you have any points to add, we can take up that point. Else, I'll ask Deepak sir to take the rest of the session for your queries, whatever queries you had. I think somebody had a query on exams and all, something that can be taken now. But before that, if you have any points to address, anything you want to ask or say, please share that. Thank you, Prashant, for being, and my sincere thanks to all participants who have participated by chat or voice commands. Any session is only good as long as we both are talking. If only I talk, then it is a monologue. But if you are responding and you are contributing, and see, everyone has ideas, and no idea is wrong. And as I said, every point needs to be understood. So, and I think I like a lot of points you have made, and I'm actually I always feel that the profession is at my right hands when a young guy is at between 18 to 22. That would be the I can generally assume that would be the age range which you are attending, and the kind of responses you are giving. So you understand the points which needs to be taken care of. So I'm sure once you come into the field and become the full-fledged professionals, wherever you go, the business will be happy to have you on the board. So with this, I thank you all for your patient hearing, and I would like to, if anything needs to be understood, you can always drop me email and ask or unmute. I'll be happy to take it. Whatever little I know, I'll be happy to answer. Else, I can ask Deepak sir to come and take it forward.
Excuse me, sir.
Please.
My query is that I am giving second group first and preparing for that, and not prepared for the first group. Then how should I prepare for the IBS exam? Reason being, for the first group, it include NDS, FEMA and all that. But it's not possible to me read all the things together.
Okay, so that is a very practical challenge, and I think Deepak sir can answer more in detail on that. Deepak sir, if you can answer this.
Yes. It's a good question and a common point among students preparing for this exam. But here there is smart strategy. Even if you are focusing on group 2, it's a good idea to pick 1 or 2 papers from group 1 and prepare them thoroughly. For example, financial reporting. This is highly recommended for all students. A strong grip on FR will not only help you to score in IBS, but also prove immensely useful in your professional life. It builds the foundation for interpretation and application of accounting standard, Ind AS, and consolidation related questions that are often embedded in this paper. Second is AFM, ideal for those students who are comfortable in practical problem solving and quantitative analysis. It sharps your decision making skills like area, capital budgeting, risk management, and valuations. Auditing and assurance, a good choice for students who already have good practical exposure through articleship. Audit related insights are often required in case studies dealing with compliances, risk, and control mechanisms. Okay. Regarding self-page module, don't ignore self-page module. Okay. Set A is very important because corporate governance is directly connected with this. Most case studies involving body corporates that can be linked with relevant provisions of the Companies Act. If the company is listed, then SEBI LODR is very important, and you may surely get a question from there. Similarly, if in a question, if there is some foreign investment is involved, or there is some type of foreign exchange is involved, then you may definitely get questions from FEMA. Set B, there are a lot of strategic models are involved in this paper, and for every strategic decision, you must be aware of models like Porter's Five Forces, McKinsey 7S, Altman's Z-score, value chain analysis, etc. Okay, these models are very, very important. To prepare these models, I suggest you to prepare mind map. Okay. Further, you don't need to study every subject in very, very deep, but you should have at least basic understanding so that you can apply the concepts by referring your relevant resources in the examinations. Okay. अभी मैंने आपको सजेस्ट किया कि अगर आप खाली ग्रुप 2 में अपीयर कर रहे हैं, आप ग्रुप 1 पहले क्लियर कर चुके हैं, तो मैं आपको यह सजेस्ट करूंगा कि ग्रुप 1 से कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स आप सेलेक्ट कीजिए. ठीक है. फॉर एग्जांपल के लिए मैंने एफआर चूज किया, क्योंकि अगर आप एफआर को सेलेक्ट करते हो कि एफआर आपको आगे फ्यूचर में भी काम आएगा, जब आप चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट बन जाएंगे तब भी वो यूजफुल होगा और अभी भी यूजफुल होगा, क्योंकि इससे आपका स्कोर इंक्रीज होगा. ठीक है. डायरेक्ट टैक्स, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स करना ही है. साथ में आप ग्रुप 2 से 1 या 2 पेपर को अपना काफी अच्छे से करें. ठीक है. इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप तीसरा पेपर इग्नोर कर रहे हैं, उसको भी पढ़ना है. उसको क्यों पढ़ना है? क्योंकि उसकी बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपको इसलिए होनी चाहिए क्योंकि अगर आपको बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी तभी आप एग्जाम के अंदर सपोज वहां से भी क्वेश्चन आता है तो भी उसको क्रैक कर पाओगे, अदरवाइज नहीं. ठीक है. अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल के लिए जैसे इसी केस स्टडी के अंदर अभी फेमा का क्वेश्चन था. ठीक है. फेमा फ्रेमवर्क का क्वेश्चन था. यू मस्ट हैव बीन अवेयर अबाउट दैट कॉन्सेप्ट. only then you can link, correlate and apply the concept in your exam. ठीक है. अगर आपको फेमा के कॉन्सेप्ट के बारे में, फेमा का ईसीबी, फेमा के अंदर ईसीबी फ्रेमवर्क का जो एरिया है, अगर आपने वो पढ़ा है, स्टडी किया है डिटेल में, तो आप उसको एग्जाम के अंदर प्रॉपरली करके आ सकते हैं. सपोज अगर क्वेश्चन कहता है कि सपोज अभी हमारे सामने यहां पर क्वेश्चन आता है ईसीबी फ्रेमवर्क के ऊपर. ठीक है. तो अब सपोज मैं एक एग्जांपल बता रहा हूं कि मैंने उस कॉन्सेप्ट को काफी समय पहले रीड किया था. ठीक है. और वहां पर लिखा है कि वर्किंग कैपिटल के लिए इतना पीरियड और कैपिटल जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है कैपिटल पर्पस के लिए इतना पीरियड, इस तरीके से वहां पर दिया हुआ है. तो अब इस सिचुएशन में हम क्या करेंगे कि हमने क्योंकि पढ़ा हुआ है तो हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, अगर हमने नहीं पढ़ा हुआ तो हम उसे अप्लाई नहीं कर पाएंगे. ठीक है. तो बाकी रिगार्डिंग स्ट्रेटेजिक एरिया यू हैव टू मेक माइंड मैप ऑफ वेरियस कॉन्सेप्ट.
Thank you, sir.
Now, students, I am taking queries from the portal. This is query from Mr. Sumit. The IBS paper is not based on rote learning. How should I approach preparation differently compared to other papers? Okay, focus on integrated thinking. Instead of memorizing topics in isolation, practice linking concepts from different subjects like how a financial decision affects tax compliances, regulatory compliances, or strategic goals. Work on case studies regularly and evaluate decision from a CEO senior manager's perspective. ओके अगर कोई भी डिसीजन है आप ये सोचिए कि आप एक सीईओ के पर्सपेक्टिव से आप उस डिसीजन को कंसिडर कीजिए, ठीक है? तो आपका जो माइंड है वो अकॉर्डिंगली ही इसको रिस्पॉन्ड करना शुरू कर देगा. सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज फ्रॉम मिस्टर आशीष. हाउ कैन आई मैनेज टाइम इफेक्टिवली ड्यूरिंग द IBS एग्जामिनेशन? डोंट स्पेंड टू मच टाइम ऑन वन क्वेश्चन. Practice mock test with a timer and get used to reading scenarios quickly. Start with questions you are confident about and mark others to revisit if time allows. ठीक है कि सबसे पहले हम हमेशा यही कहते हैं कि जो क्वेश्चन में आप ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल हो उसको करो, लेकिन अगर आपने रॉन्ग क्वेश्चन सेलेक्ट कर लिया तो वो क्वेश्चन होगा भी नहीं और जो दूसरा क्वेश्चन आपको आता होगा उसका भी टाइम किल कर देगा. तो इसलिए इट इज एडवाइजेबल टू सेलेक्ट क्वेश्चंस केयरफुली. नेक्स्ट क्वेरी इज फ्रॉम शेखर. What if case study is from industry I am not familiar with? Okay, the case study provides all relevant context. You don't need to be an expert in the industry. Focus on business logic and apply your core subject knowledge like tax, Indian accounting standard, compliance, and strategic thinking to the facts. Practice diverse case studies. ठीक है, अगर इंडस्ट्री स्पेसिफिक कोई केस स्टडी आती भी है तो उससे परेशान होने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. अगर आपको बेसिक कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्कुल क्लियर है तो आप एग्जाम के अंदर बिल्कुल अच्छे से उसको अप्लाई कर पाओगे. अगेन मैं यही कह रहा हूं कि यू शुड हैव गुड कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग टू क्लियर दिस एग्जाम. अगर आपको कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग बिल्कुल क्लियर है तो आप स्कोर अच्छा करोगे. नेक्स्ट क्वेरी इज फ्रॉम प्रियांशु. Apart from ICAI's material, what else should I study? ICAI's official case studies on the students portal, BOS knowledge portal, are most relevant. Don't rely on shortcuts. Instead, revise key concepts from FR, corporate laws, auditing, taxation, strategic cost management modules. Make your own summary notes or charts. Okay, आपको अपने समरी नोट्स और माइंड मैप और चार्ट्स बनाने हैं, ये आपको एग्जाम में बहुत यूजफुल होंगे. ठीक है. सम एमसीक्यूज, दिस क्वेरी इज some MCQs have very close answer choices. How do I pick correct one? Look for what the question truly asks. क्वेश्चन क्या कहता है एक बार आप उसको ढंग से देखो. Eliminate clear incorrect options first. आपको यहां पे क्या करना होगा, जब एमसीक्यू के अंदर सिमिलर टाइप की ऑप्शंस आ जाएं तो आपको एलिमिनेशन रूल फॉलो करना होगा. आप ट्राई टू एलिमिनेट, आप उसके अंदर से ऑप्शन जो इररिलेवेंट है उसको एलिमिनेट करते चले जाइए, तो जो फाइनल आंसर है सिर्फ वही बचेगा एंड में. ठीक है. यूज कीवर्ड्स फ्रॉम द क्वेश्चन टू मैच विद द मोस्ट लॉजिकल एंड aligned answer. Often the correct answer is the most balanced and compliance oriented one. Next query is from Shekhar. Sometimes MCQs are not straightforward and seem open oriented. What should be my mindset? IBS MCQs are often designed to simulate boardroom level judgment. Okay, so rather than looking for textbook answers, apply logical reasoning, ethical compliances. Okay, think what would I do if I were advising the board. आप सोचिए अगर आप बोर्ड को एडवाइस करें तो कोई एमसीक्यू आता है तो उसमें आप सोचिए और उसके बैकग्राउंड में जो प्रोविजन लग रहा है उसको कंसीडर कीजिए. ओके, assume you are advising board and behind that you have to consider the key concept involved. Now next question is how do I ensure that my answer reflect strategic thinking? Consider long term impact. Okay, consider long term impact, stakeholder interest, regulatory obligations. If you are asked about if you are asked whether to go ahead with a merger, don't just look at financial. Here non financial factors are also very important. There is query from Mr. Samanthayan. Sir, how to answer MCQs of IBS? Whether a reason is needed for each MCQ. There is no reasoning required. Okay. For MCQs, you have to circle your answer sheet. Okay. Question paper one. I guess. Students, you may ask your queries. In question paper, it is clearly written that answer in respect of multiple choice questions are to be marked on OMR answer sheet as given on the cover page of the answer book. Answer to MCQs, if written inside the descriptive type of answer book, will not be evaluated. Okay. Student, any other query?
No, sir.
Okay. As we bring this enriching session to a close, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, C.S. Sumit Dadda sir, for sharing his time, knowledge, and valuable insight. Sir, your clear and practical explanation of Green Energy Limited case study helped our students truly understand how a company operating in a growing sector like renewable energy must make careful decisions, whether it is about ECB proceeds, reporting under Ind AS, handling TDS deductions, or aligning compliances framework. Your analysis showed how regulatory rules, financial reporting, tax provisions, strategic planning must come together when companies aim to scale sustainability and responsibility. It's it is this interconnection interconnected thinking that lies at the heart of IBS. To all our students who joined us, thank you for your participation and thoughtful questions. Your desire made today's session even more engaging and impactful. Let this session serve as reminder IABS is not just about solving questions, it is about building the mindset of a decision maker. Whether you are evaluating FEMA regulations or applying accounting standard, each case teaches you to think critically, connect the dots, and approach challenges with confidence. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep practicing how to apply your knowledge in complex real world situations. Wishing you all the best for your preparation, and once again, a sincere thank you to everyone for making today's session a success. Thank you, students, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Also, thank you. Have a good day.
Yes.